Hello. Are we sitting comfortably on our mats? Alright, well, we're going to get straight into it. So this is going to be our third in the Rebuilding Your Core series. Okay, so let's get down onto the mat. So remember that you need to come down to the side, come down this way. That's the safest way to do it. And we want on your back, chin slightly tucked, shoulders down and back, arms relaxed down by your side. T-zone is tight, okay? Hips and knees straight up towards the sky and feet facing away from you. And inhale, T-zone. And as you exhale, you're going to allow your right leg to fall out to the side with control. Inhale, come back in. Exhale, we're going to switch sides. So exhale, inhaling, come back in. Should have a nice neutral spine with this. So remember that's having that flat surface from the base of your palms to your fingers when you put them from your hips to your pubic bone. So make sure you've got the correct spinal positioning for this one. What you want to be doing is really tightening through that T-zone. Get those fingers on the inside of your hips to check. Is my T-zone on? Remember, we're pulling up, squeezing across from the hips and flattening down. Okay, keep flowing through this movement. Resetting and doing that quick body scan before you start again. This one isn't about just like flopping your legs out side to side, like that's quite easy to do. It's about making sure that your T-zone is on tight and really controlling it out so that you're not rocking through the hips at all. Okay. Just going to do one more on each side now, so really tight T-zone. I'm actually going to roll my mat up a little bit because I haven't got my block with me. Okay. So we're going to move into lift and extend. So again, using our lower abs. So chin slightly tucked, shoulders down and back. We've got the neutral spine, ribs are towards hips. Remember, corset on. T-zone is tight and feet are hip distance apart, knees up towards the sky. Okay, so inhale. You're going to this time bring your knee up towards you until you reach a 90-degree angle, and then you're going to come back down. So tighten that T-zone. Exhale, lift. Inhale, control it back down. Exhale, lift. Inhale, coming back down. So keep flowing with this one, going from left to right. And just make sure what's happening with your spine. You should be keeping a nice neutral position. You shouldn't be starting to overarch or flatten down. Take a moment to do the quick body scan. Your chin slightly tucked and my shoulders relaxed. And my ribs moving down towards my hips. Is that T-zone tight? T-zone tight. And am I minimizing any rocking in the hips? Am I nice and controlled? Okay, one more on this side. And then as we lift up on the right hand side, just pause at the top, and this time you're going to extend out. And then come back into 90 and foot comes down. So this time you've got an inhale to lift, an exhale to extend and reach with those toes. Inhale, come back in. Exhale, foot to floor. Okay, so driving through the heel of the foot that's stabilizing you, lifting up that leg. Extend out, really pushing out through the toes. Inhale, come back in. Exhale, down. So as you're extending your leg out, just notice what wants to happen with your spine. Like, do you want to start arching through your back? Are your shoulders starting to hunch up to compensate for that action? Really think about, as you extend, you're also pulling your ribs down towards your hips, flattening through those abs, making this core your absolute powerhouse. Rock solid stability, that's what we're going for. Okay. This time, stay out when you're extended, and we're going to pulse for 20. No movement in the spine. Rock solid T-zone. That's 10. Check your T-zone. Relax your shoulders. Last one. Bending in, foot comes down. Going to lift up your other foot, really driving through the stabilizing heel. Extend out with an exhale and begin to pulse. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. Try and make this movement as controlled and elegant as you can. Keep it small. Keep the powerhouse on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring the knee back in and down to the floor. So this time we're going to come into our first tabletop position. So this means imprinting our spine. So if you remember from our basics video, that means you feel as though you're pulling your lower abs down towards the mat, and you notice how that actually pulls your spine down. So you get that slight tilt in your pelvis. Okay, so we're going to lift our legs up one at a time into 90-degree angle. Make sure the spine's imprinted. Lifting up the other one and squeeze your legs together. Okay, and in this position, make sure you're really pulling your ribs down towards your hips, because we really don't want our spine to start to arch, because otherwise in this position you can cause real damage to your lower back, especially if you've got like weaker abs. All right, so really squeezing your abs down towards the mat to imprint that spine. You're going to have your arms out to the sides with this one. Chin touch, ribs down, T-zone on, legs squeezing together, toes pointed, knees together. Okay, and on an exhale, you're going to start to bring both knees out towards the right hand side, gently lifting your bum cheek, your opposite bum cheek off the ground, and then inhale, come back to center, switching sides. Watch what's happening with your spine. You want to be imprinting it the whole way through the movement. Inhale, come back in. Exhaling. Inhaling. Keep flowing through. Again, with this one, could potentially be just like an easy movement, you know. But what we're trying to do is create control. It's all about control. You're really concentrating on your spinal position. You're tightening through that T-zone to create a rock solid core. And that's what's guiding the movement. It's not, you're not getting that sway going. You're not getting body weight behind this. you're using that T-zone. All of these movements. We are rebuilding our inner foundational core that is going to do so much for us. You're going to notice it, even just like bending down to pick something up, or your posture, or getting out of bed in the morning. Okay, we're just going to do a couple more. Watch what's happening with your spine. Is it still imprinted? Over to the other side. Okay, and resting back down to the middle. One at a time. Take your legs down towards the mat. Spine comes back into neutral. Okay, so we're going to move on to our side now. So I'm just going to flick my mat back over. And you could do that as well. If you need that head support, like I do because of my spinal position, you can just roll up your mat or have a towel or use a block, whatever you want to do. It's just so you've got a bit of extra support. Right, so we are lying on our sides as long and elegant as we can. There's a straight line between our hand and our feet, so running through our shoulders, our hips, and our finally down to our ankles. And then you're going to take your top leg and you're going to place it on the mat in front of you, foot flat. If you cannot get up here, don't worry about it. Just have your leg a bit further down, okay? That's okay. Alright, just build yourself up slowly. No stress at all. So you want to make sure your hips are stacked one on top of another. And by that, that means if you took a pole and you drove it through one hip, it would perfectly come out of the other hip. Okay, so just try and keep that in mind, that that's what hips stacked means. Okay, so got one hand just to gently support you on the mat. There is no weight coming through this one, it's simply a stabilizer. And chin slightly tucked, shoulders down and back. We've got our ribs in towards our hips. T-zone is tight, little double check there. And toe pointed. And with an exhale, you're going to start to lift the leg, and you're lifting from the upper part of your thigh. So really feel like that's controlling the movement. Exhale, inhale, come down. So exhale up, inhale down. Exhale up, inhale down. Watch what's happening with your hips. You want to make sure that they're staying completely stacked on top of one another. Not starting to rock forwards, not starting to rock back to allow the movement. Make the movement as small as you can, but keep your form perfect. Take a rest. I'd rather that you do one perfect one every 10 seconds rather than doing continuous ones with the wrong form, because we're not achieving them. So you want to be slightly pushing down on your hip as you're performing this movement to keep your waist lifted. You don't want to be collapsing down into the mat. You want to be trying to, keep it lifted up to be able to engage through here properly. So make sure you're not tucking your bum under as well. Keep that neutral spine. Alright, keep pushing. We're just going to do 3 more. Really lifting up from the top of that thigh there. That's what's controlling the movement. There should be no pressure in your knees or your feet. Last one. Awesome. So that underneath leg is going to come up into a 90-degree angle, and the top one is going to sit on top of it. We are moving into clam number 3 at a 90-degree angle. So same deal, you want a nice long line between your hand, your shoulders and your hips. And then you want your knees stacked on top of each other, ankles squeezing together, hips stacked. Okay, all right, so we've got shoulders down and back. T-zone is tight. And we're going to squeeze the ankles and exhale, start to part the knees. And then inhale, coming back down. Exhaling, lifting. What's happening with your spine? Are you managing to keep those ribs in? Not starting to arch through the back. You see how this is a very small movement? It's basically, I'm only opening just more than a fist. That's because if you start doing this, you see that my hip has to come back to allow for that extra movement, and that's not what we want. We want the hips to stay perfectly stacked on top of each other, and we're going to force that booty to do the work. Don't let it get away with anything. It's here to work. T-zone tight. Exhale. I'm going to do 5 more. Exhale. Really squeezing that booty. Squeezing those ankles together. You've got this. 3, 2. Last one. 1. Okay. Beautiful. Even the smallest of moves can really give you the best burn. The most satisfying burn. Okay, so I'm going to flop over onto my other side. You can just roll over. So we're going to switch and do that inner thigh lift again. So nice long line from the hand all the way down to the toes. So through the shoulders, through the hips, through our ankles, and then take that upper leg and flatten your foot on the floor. Remember, it doesn't matter if you're down here as well. Okay. You might just need more stability if your leg's a bit further away. So, my chin is tucked, my shoulders are down and back, my ribs are in, I've got that corset on. Hips, are they stacked on one on top of another? Wonderful. T-zone tight, toe pointed. Okay, and with an exhale, I'm going to start to lift from the inner thigh and inhale, come back down. Exhale to lift. Inhale, come back down. Exhale to lift. Inhale, come back down. Remember to kind of push away on your hip to stop yourself from collapsing in your waist. You shouldn't be putting any weight through this hand that's on the floor. If that's starting to happen, it probably means that your hips are shifting forwards or back. They're not staying stacked with that nice big pole that runs through them. So exhale, lift. Really starting the movement from the top of that inner thigh. Like almost imagine that you've only got like a little stump of a leg and you're moving it up and down just from the top. Just forget about the rest of your leg. Really focus in. Exhale to lift and squeeze. Inhale, come back down and check the T-zone. Exhale. 3 more. And on this last one, you're going to hold 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. I just threw that one in there, didn't I? Sneaky. Okay, so we're bringing that lower leg up into the 90-degree angle for our clam 3 at 90 degrees. So again, your hand, shoulders and hips are in one line, and then you've got a 90-degree angle in your legs, which means your knees are on top of each one another. Let's check your hips are stacked. Possibly means that one knee is slightly shorter than the other. More important that your hip position is correct, okay? So, chin tucked, shoulders down and back, ribs are in, pulling down towards those hips. T-zone is tight. And then squeeze your heels together, and with an exhale, you're going to peel those knees away from each other. Inhale, come back down. Exhaling, squeezing and lifting. Put your hand on your booty. you could check if it's working. If it's not, then make sure that your hips have stayed stacked, that you haven't rocked forward or backwards in this move. And keep going, exhaling and inhaling, coming back down, checking the T-zone. Exhale, part the knees, ankles squeezing together throughout this movement. That's what really turns on the glutes. T-zone's tight, my ribs are in. Chin is still tucked, my shoulders are relaxed, I haven't started to hunch up. Okay. Gonna do 3 more. Okay, this last one, just hold at the top. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. And we're done. So, push yourself back up in a nice safe way. And I really hope that you enjoyed that video, and there's much more to come. So with my videos I will always advise what level of intensity that they are at and who they are designed for. So I recommend that you keep doing my core rebuilders until you are feeling really confident that you can really start to feel that T-zone activating. And then you can start to move on to some more of the low intensity Pilates workouts that I do, of which there are going to be many. Alright, I hope that you enjoyed that one. Thanks.